Hey, today we get to talk about physical media. And I know today, in this day and age, streaming seems to be the thing to do. Now, one thing I want to point out first off is like, I have a daughter. She's 26. And for the time that she was a little girl in the back seat of my car, listening to all the dad's music, which was great because all I played pretty much was either classic rock or alternative, some R&B. So she got a really good taste of it right from the onset, even till now. And she loves the music that I actually played for her when she was a baby. She still goes to it, and she does do a lot of streaming. That's for sure. And I did at one time. I bought her a record player. She has one, but she doesn't have a lot of vinyl to play, or even cassettes, or even CDs. And that's what we're here to talk about, guys. Is the physical media. So, was born in the '60s, raised in the '70s and '80s, and I was the product of being introduced to a lot of physical media that you see right in front of me. So we're going to get into that, guys. So being the youngest of 8 kids, I had the pleasure of listening to a lot of great music from my older brothers and sisters. Mostly my brothers. Classic rock. I mean, there was no disco in their vocabulary. There was no alternative. It was just literally classic rock. I'm talking from the Stones to some AC/DC, Yes, Kiss, Kansas, Jethro Tull, Zeppelin, you name it. All those great bands from back in the day, and they are still freaking popular. So let's start off with one of the first things that I grew up with, and these are tapes, cassettes, whatever you want to call them. These things are easy to store. Got some NXS. What I got here? I got some Joe Jackson right here. I have some, not necessarily related, but Janet Jackson. And I have some Led Zeppelin. Now, the one thing I loved about this type of format was because they're easy to store. You could put them in a shoebox. You could put them on a shelf. You could put them under your bed in the shoebox. So it doesn't really matter where you put them at, but they're there. And you didn't have to have the stuff that you see in front of me to play the music you loved. You had like maybe a little tape recorder, and you played it on there. But as long as you heard the music, it was fantastic. And this was the beginning of the journey of my physical media. Now, back in the '70s, I didn't have a job. I didn't have any source of income other than my parents. So when I started getting into that type of music, or any kind of music that I knew I could purchase, you had your allowance. And then, of course, you do chores and you get money, and then you spend it on who knows what back then. Candy, the liquor store, get some ice cream, a soda, who knows. But one thing for sure, I didn't save it. That's for sure. But cassettes are great. They're fantastic. And obviously you start them, and if they're like this one, for instance, let me see. This one right here, it's maybe 2 songs into it, maybe 1, depending on the length of the tape that I could see from this point. But if I wanted to start from the beginning, guess what? I'd have to rewind it. And of course, over time, tapes wear out. And my friends and I, if we had like TDK or Maxell tapes that you could record onto, there's screws on there, so we just unscrew them, take them out, and if they messed up, you'd splice them, get some tape, and it was like doing surgery just to repair the cassettes that you had. And back then, if we couldn't buy pre-made cassettes, we would take the cassettes, put them on a recorder, and tape right off the radio. How many of you guys remember that? And maybe some people today still do that. I don't know. But I did that. I had some great mixtapes back in the day. A lot of edgy cuts and a lot of stuff going on that it was just fun. This is teenager trying to make cassettes and make music the best that they know how with what they had in their possession. So as tapes and cassettes evolved, vinyl was already the staple. Vinyl was already there, guys, and I'm gonna jump from vinyl. I'm going to go to CDs first, and then I'm going to get back to vinyl, and I'll explain why. So, if you had a cassette collection, and even vinyl, CDs came out I believe in the mid '80s, if I'm not mistaken, and it was just such a pain in the butt because CD players back in the mid '80s to late '80s, they were expensive, and I did not have the money to buy a CD player, much less CDs. It wasn't until later on when I got older and I was able to afford such luxuries. So CDs as well as cassettes are easy to store, and they don't get damaged. I mean, they can if you don't treat them right. But they're, like I said, they're a lot easier to store than vinyl, and I'll definitely get to that for sure. And the one thing about that is that, well, first of all, they were kind of expensive in comparison to cassettes, and they were great to have because you know what, the quality of sound that you were able to listen to, depending on what kind of CD player you had, it was great. But going back to the cassettes, you still have the sound because that's what my ear was tuned to. And then, like I said, the CDs came out, and it was just like fantastic. It was just, no pun intended, it was music to my ears, and it would just sounded great. So once I was able to get a hold of my first CD player, CDs were in, and these were like gone. I was like, nah, I don't need cassettes. Don't need them anymore. Why? Because you know what? Because we got CDs. We got CDs. We got more CDs. I got Psychedelic Furs. I got what do we got? We got Alice in Chains, Depeche Mode, one of my favorite ones, Violator, and we have some Godsmack. So CDs were the thing, and they stayed the thing. And then obviously time evolves, and all this physical media kind of disappeared. Well, they didn't really disappear. It kind of went to the side a little bit, almost on the back burner. And I was collecting vinyl from the time I was a teenager into my military career, and I had a bunch. And if I would have kept it all, I'd probably have 3 times as much as I have right here in my possession. So CDs were great. They're still great. Now we get into my favorite format of music, vinyl. Vinyl is the staple of my listening pleasure. Sade, Kiss, who's probably one of my all-time favorite bands. Great. Kiss Alive, gotta have that. Who doesn't love The Clash? And of course, Mr. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. May he rest in peace. Great artist. Loved hearing him. But vinyl, my friends, believe it or not, if you're not a physical media collector like this guy right here, they're back. They are definitely back. But you know what the thing about it is they've gotten so expensive. But if you're a guy like me that likes bargains and you know where to go, you could lessen the dent in your wallet by looking for stuff. But you just have to be vigilant. You really, really do. Now, I think probably the most I've ever spent on a record, and it's not just one record. This was the 50th edition, a collector's edition of Kiss Alive and Dress to Kill. Now, both records came out in 1975, and I got them last year, and there's a ton of stuff in there, and I'm gonna probably do a whole show about that. But anyway, they're sitting on my collection down there, and I'll give you a little treat later on. But the thing about vinyl, and the fact I love vinyl, I will take it with me, and they're difficult to store. That's the thing, they're difficult to store unless you have the room. But my room is running out of room, so I go back and forth. Like if I feel like, okay, I'd like to buy some vinyl, but I have maybe like a $30 budget for this week, whatever the case may be, guess what, I'll buy some more cassettes, or maybe I'll buy some discounted CDs. But if there's something that's out and I really, really want on vinyl, guess what? I'm going to go get it. I still have some room, ample room. I probably got room right now for another maybe 200 more records to find in all the storage bins that I got right now. But after that, then I need to start thinking about it. So I'm trying to slow down on my vinyl. So, but I don't think even if I have to put some on the floor or get some milk crates, which I still have, and they're good for storage. I'd like to, if I have to stack them, whatever the case may be, but as long as they are off the ground and taken care of. So that's the main thing, guys. So here we are, the physical media platform that I love and listen to all three of these guys, from cassettes, CDs, which I love, and it's fantastic. I love the CDs, especially with the inner sleeve, and then I love the fact that buying an album nowadays, they still have. Let me see. Yeah, they have the lyrics on here, but I'm 58, and guess what? I can't read that close. It's horrible. And guess what? A lot of the lyrics I do know, and if not, I'll get my tablet and I'll check the lyrics out as I'm listening to the music. But either way, guys, it's fun to collect. I am just I'm a Gen X guy, and I will never leave my physical media. I will not. I will take this stuff with me to the grave. Well, not literally, but it will stay with me for the rest of my life. That's for sure. Now, once in a while, like I said, I don't mind streaming. Depends. But for the most part, if I'm going to listen to music, it's going to be right here. On here, it's going to be on my turntables. It's going to be on my cassette deck. It's going to be right here on my CD player. So there you have it in a nutshell, guys. 3 forms of physical media that are still standing the test of time. And one thing for sure, that I've done my research, one of the main things that is coming back are definitely CDs. CDs are definitely making a huge comeback, which I love. And I'm glad, well, my collection is growing. I got probably close to 200 CDs right now, and that's growing. So I'm gonna find more storage for them as my collection grows. So anyway, guys, I'm Rich. I'm glad you enjoyed the video. At least I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, just like, subscribe, and give me your feedback on what you just heard. Okay, guys? So thank you so much. Hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for being here. Glad you allowed me to share a little bit of my physical media collection, because I have a lot of it. Okay? So thanks, guys. Have a great day. You take care. God bless. And have a great weekend.